Welcome to this episode of the story. Have you subscribed yet? Chapter 158. The Spiritual Energy Maze. The Rune Barrier. Sumu and his companions stood before the spiritual energy maze. Colorful light emanated from the stones on the maze walls, interweaving into a dreamlike light screen. Those ancient runes seemed to possess life, shimmering with a mysterious luster, and the spiritual energy fluctuations they emitted were like invisible undercurrents, constantly assailing everyone's perception. These runes look ancient and complex, as if they hide some kind of powerful force. A team member frowned, his eyes filled with concern. Sumu nodded slightly. He stepped forward and reached out to touch the runes on the wall, slowly infusing his time-reversing spiritual energy into them. However, as if sensing the intrusion of foreign spiritual energy, the runes suddenly flared up, and a powerful repulsive force came from the wall, knocking Sumu back a few steps. Everyone, don't act rashly. These runes are highly disruptive. A single misstep could make us get lost in them. Sumu stabilized himself and warned the others. He stared at the runes again, channeling his time-reversing spiritual energy, trying to parse the information contained in these runes from a temporal dimension. Under the influence of the time-reversing spiritual energy, the light on the runes seemed to undergo subtle changes, and some originally hidden lines gradually emerged. Sumu concentrated all his attention, carefully observing the direction and pattern of these lines. He discovered that these runes were not chaotic, but arranged in a special order, with each rune closely connected to the others. "I think these runes might be related to the laws of time," Sumu said to his teammates while observing. But deciphering the runes and finding the exit of the maze was no easy task. Sumu knew that he had to gain a deeper understanding of the temporal laws contained in these runes. Just as Sumu was fully focused on analyzing the runes, a low rumble suddenly came from the maze, as if something huge was moving slowly. "Be careful, there might be danger approaching," Sumu shouted loudly. The team members immediately assumed a defensive formation, vigilantly watching the depths of the maze. Fog drifted out from the maze passages, and within the fog, a huge figure gradually became visible. It was a beast with a body like an ox, its whole body ablaze with flames. Its eyes were like two blazing fireballs, exuding intense hostility. "This is an infernal hellox. Be careful of its fire attacks." Sumu recognized this spirit beast. It was extremely powerful, and its fire attacks were highly destructive. The infernal hellox let out a roar, and a thick column of fire sprayed from its mouth, sweeping toward everyone. Wherever the fire passed, the air was ignited, making a sizzling sound. Sumu quickly unleashed his time-reversing spiritual energy, forming a temporal barrier in front of him. The fire collided with the barrier, and the power of time contended with the flames, emitting a dazzling light. However, the infernal hellox's fire was too powerful, and cracks began to appear in the temporal barrier. Everyone attacked together to distract it. Sumu shouted. The team members launched their attacks one after another, with various spiritual energy skills shooting toward the infernal hellox. Some team members manipulated ice spiritual energy, trying to freeze the infernal hellox's movements. Others shudan wind spiritual energy, hoping to disperse the flames it sprayed. Under everyone's attacks, the infernal hellox let out an angry roar. Its four hooves stomped heavily on the ground, making the entire maze tremble. Suddenly, it darted forward at an extremely fast speed toward one of the team members. The team member couldn't dodge in time, was hit by the infernal hellox's horns, and flew backward, crashing heavily to the ground. Sumu was burning with anxiety. He increased the output of his time-reversing spiritual energy again, and the temporal barrier was restabilized, blocking the infernal hellox's subsequent attacks. At the same time, he seized the opportunity and unleashed a special move of his time-reversing spiritual energy, time-reverse imprisonment. The power of time instantly enveloped the infernal hellox, and its movements slowed down. "Now, attack with all your strength," Sumu shouted. The team members seized the chance, unleashing their strongest spiritual energy skills, and streaks of spiritual energy light hit the infernal hellox. Under their combined attack, wounds appeared on the infernal hellox's body. Blood flowed from the wounds, and the flames gradually dimmed. In the end, The infernal hellocks let out an unwilling roar and collapsed to the ground. Su Mu and the others finally let out a sigh of relief, but they knew that this was just a small episode in the maze, and greater challenges lay ahead. Su Mu returned to the runes and continued to parse them. After some effort, he finally found some key clues. These runes were arranged in a specific order, seemingly hinting at the direction of the maze's exit. "I think I've got some leads. Follow me." Su Mu led the team members forward in the direction indicated by the runes. However, the maze was filled with various deceptive traps, and the interference from the runes never stopped. Sometimes they would encounter passages that seemed to be exits, but when they approached, they found them to be dead ends. Sometimes they would encounter attacks from spiritual energy phantoms, which had powerful attack power and moved Guyi Lai. During their advance, a team member accidentally triggered a rune trap, and a powerful beam of spiritual energy shot up from the ground, heading straight for that team member. Su Mu acted quickly, immediately using his time-reversing spiritual energy to slow down the beam and pulling the team member away at the same time. "Everyone must stay close to me and pay attention to the changes in the surrounding runes," Su Mu said. The others followed Su Mu carefully, not daring to slack off in the slightest. As they went deeper into the maze, the interference from the runes grew stronger, and everyone's perception was almost completely disrupted. But relying on his exquisite use of time-reversing spiritual energy and in-depth understanding of the runes, Su Mu kept moving firmly in the direction he believed to be the exit. Finally, after some difficult exploration, an exit appeared ahead. A soft light emanated from the exit, as if calling to them. "It seems we've finally found the exit," Su Mu said, a hint of relief on his face. The team members also looked happy. After going through all the hardships in the maze, they finally saw hope. Everyone quickened their pace and walked toward the exit. However, when they stepped out of the maze, the scene before them made them gasp. A huge spiritual pool appeared in front of them, and a crystal emitting a faint light xuanfu in the center of the pool. The spiritual energy fluctuation emitted by the crystal was extremely similar to the mysterious spiritual energy fluctuation they had felt before, and it was suspected to be the eye of the spirit abyss they had been searching for. The story continues, and the subsequent episodes will be even more exciting. Subscribe as soon as possible.